So we got another correctional officer video, man. I'm talking about some challenges you're gonna face in your career. You know, it's a more serious video. And you know, in my 13th year career working as a correctional officer, I've seen a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit that the normal person that doesn't work in corrections behind that wall, man, they fucking probably be traumatized, fucking have to go see a therapist or something. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely takes a special person to go to work behind that wall every day and do what we do. You know, if you about to come into corrections, you going through the hiring process, you about to start the academy, it's your first week on the job, you know, I would tell you this, going in there, always go in there with the mindset that you are expecting the unexpected. You don't know what the fuck is going to go down, man. When it goes down quick. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. It's a holiday, it could be night shift, 2, 3 in the morning, it could be the weekend, it doesn't matter. They don't care that you're a rookie, it's your first day on the job, man. Shit happens. When I first started working in corrections, I was only a few months on the job. I was working at the county jail up in Charleston, West Virginia, man. And I'm working night shift. And the inmate, he was on my unit, you know. He ended up committing suicide and he left me to find him. And that shit kind of had me in limbo as far as my mind. Then I was like, once I seen that shit and I seen that body, when they rolled the CO that I was working with up in the tower, they pushed the button and rolled this cell door open, and I seen that body flop out, and he had a shoestring tied around his neck, and he was like blue in the face, he was dead. It kind of, you know, I was like, I don't know, this is the right fucking career for me. You know what I'm saying? I studied criminal justice. You know, I never thought I'd be doing anything like corrections. And I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was about to graduate college. So I sought counsel from one of my college professors. He said he used to be a CEO back in the day before he became a college professor. So he's like, why don't you try that out? So I did, boom. You know, it was going good in the beginning. First few months, you know, I'm working the floor, working the units and shit, learning the job. Then that happened. You know, I was kind of messed up for a couple of weeks. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this shit, man, to be honest, to be for real with y'all. You know, seeing that body, you know, and it was like, I didn't even really know the protocol. I'm still learning the job and shit. And I ain't even gonna hold y'all. I ran off the unit, man. I ran. It was on the top tier. You know, when the cell door opened, his body flopped out. It was in front of me. You know, I'm looking at that shit. Like, I'm looking at it. I jumped over his body, ran down the steps and ran off the unit. I was running up the hallway, man. I was halfway up the hallway before I was able to get, you know, my composure, get on my walkie-talkie and say I need medical assistance up in, I was working, that was what, A unit. So I was at A8. I need medical assistance at A8, man. I need help. Motherfucker start running in there. You know, the first CO that arrived on the scene, I think he was the booking officer. He get up there, as soon as he got there, he started pumping his chest, doing CPR, man. You could hear bones crunching. You know, it was crazy. He was like an older man. Man, I don't know, man. I was kind of messed up for a couple of weeks. I had to do like a statement with the state police. You know, I was in the clear, you know, because he did it in between my rounds. At that jail I worked at, we was only required to do like hourly rounds. So, you know, I was good. You know, you can kill yourself in, shoot, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So if we doing an hourly round, he got plenty of time to do that. But, man, I ended up pushing through and stuff, and I was like, you know, that's on him. You know, you can't stop somebody that wants to, you know, kill themselves, stuff. You know, you could do, I mean, I've seen people still harm themselves on suicide watch. You know, there was a dude, he had he had this thing where he would put stuff up his rectum or stick it in his penis, like pins and needles. And it was like, when we were watching him on suicide watch, there had to be an officer assigned to him. He had to have his hands outside so you could see his hands. So, you know, he wouldn't be trying to cut on himself, because he would be under the smock, still trying to cut on himself, still trying to, you know, stick stuff in his body, you know. So, where there's a will, there's a way, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I ended up sticking it through, man. You know, like I said, I've seen a lot of crazy shit, man. Inmates get stabbed. I've seen inmates jump over the top tier one of them, I remember he tried to hang himself from the top tier. He took the sheet his sheet and he tied it to the railing on the top tier, tied it to his neck and jumped over. Shit was crazy. The inmate saved him. They ended up holding his legs up till we got there and shit. Man. Seen one dude jump over the top tier. He was getting out the same day. This is when I worked at the county jail. He was only in there for a misdemeanor charge. The judge ended up releasing him that same day. He jumped off the top tier still, and I think he broke like both of his legs. I'm like, looking, that shit was crazy, man. They ended up just releasing him to his family. I guess the jail didn't want to like pay for his medical expenses, man. But yeah. But these are some challenges though, man. Some other shit you gonna face in your career though, man. Rampant drug use amongst the inmate population, man. These drugs, they're out of control. So I'm just like telling y'all now, if you coming into corrections, man, you're gonna see inmates. They're getting high like every day, man. And it's like, I don't know, there's not really nothing you can do about it, man. You know, upper management knows and shit. They're just smoking and they're just high all day. You know, it's like an inmate can get high. At the prison I'm at, they get high. You know, somebody get on the walkie-talkie and they be like, such and such unit to compound. I got an inmate that appears to be high. Medical come down there, you know, everybody responds. And it's like they take them up to medical. I guess they give them some Narcan or something to counter the effects of the drug. And it's like they don't lock them up or nothing. They send them right back to the unit or something, man. So I'm like, if they do lock them up, they not gone, they right back. So I'm like, shit, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just too far out of control, man. But I be seeing it on my unit, man. I be seeing dudes, they just be walking around like zombies, man. Like, I'm like, man, there's one particular inmate on my unit, man. I think he gets high every fucking day. I work night shift. He be up majority of the night. But he's like, you know, I called him out on it a couple times, you know, but I don't never catch him and he act shit like that. But it's like he gets high. You could tell he just got down. And I think, matter of fact, the person I relieved not so long ago, I was relieving them. They work second shift, so they get off at midnight. I was coming in from my shift, and he had they was about to send him out to the hospital. Matter of fact, speaking of the devil, he had got high, and he came knocking on the door at the officer station, and she told me that he was like slurring, and he was, I can't feel my arms or some shit. So she called for medical assistance. No, she didn't call for medical. I think she called medical. They came down there and got him, and they sent him up to medical. And she was like, they was about to send him out to the hospital, but she was explaining to me how this shit was pointless, because she was like, even the nurse was like, it's pointless because, you know, they're going to send him right back. They probably give him some Narcan or some shit. I think I was working that night. He was still off the units. I thought he was going, I thought he had left or got sent out, because he came back though, like around 3 in the morning, halfway between the shift. And, you know, I seen him after I did my second count. I'm like, oh, shit, maybe, I don't know. I guess he started coming to and was feeling better. But he might be the only case of a functioning crackhead that I know. It's like he gets high damn near every day. But he's up every morning at like 7 a.m. when it's like time for the inmates to go to work. He's up, dressed, ready to go to work and everything. But I don't know, he just gets high. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't ever catch him in the act. You know, I think maybe he gets high before I get on shift. I just be seeing him walking around and shit, man. You could tell in his eyes, he got like black rings around his eye. He ain't that old, maybe like he in his late 20s or something, man. But it's like a fucking drug epidemic with these drugs on these compounds and these different facilities, man. It's getting out of control, man. That, like, they're smoking rat poison, they're saying, like spraying paper and they're smoking it. You know, I be seeing it like, even in the middle of the day, they be on day shift, they be still be getting high. And I'm like, how high y'all trying to get? I've had instances, man, where inmates high, they fall out and shit right on my unit. I remember one time I'm in the other, it's the other officer station, so it's two sides. I'm working with another officer. I'm on his side. We was in his office talking, but the office is like window, so you can see out of on the unit. This one inmate, he on the phone, I guess about to make a phone call, but he's high, right? So he's making the phone call, but it's like we just happen to look, and he's like fucking slurring over and like just fell out, man, trying to push the buttons. I'm like, wow, that motherfucker hit the floor hard as hell too. So we went out there, you know, we called compound to step over to the unit, said we got one up here, it's high, man. Medical came with the crash cart. They loaded him up and took him away, man. But it's like a daily occurrence, man. So I highly stress and encourage, you know, the people that's coming into corrections, you know, man, be cautious with these people. You know, these inmates, man, especially when they intoxicated off of drugs, you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're going to become hostile, shit like that, man. I remember we went in his cell, he was high, and we was trying to tell him to cuff up. You know, we was about to take him off the unit, and he reaching away, he became real aggressive. So we had to rush him and grab him, put him in cuffs physically and shit like that, man. So when they high out their mind, they can be unpredictable. I remember too, another instance. I'm on night shift, right? We counting, it's me and a female officer. We wasn't even 30 minutes into our shift, right? And the way the unit is set up, it's like corridor, it's like dormitory style. So it's two sides. So we start on one side, we walk up and we back each other up on the count. We count the inmates, we got a flashlight. We was halfway up this side of the dorm, right? Next thing you know, we hear a whole bunch of fucking commotion and screaming and shouting. And we thinking it's a fight going on. We're like, what the fuck going on? So we run over there. It's an inmate in the middle of the aisle. You know, he just sitting there shouting, belligerent, man. He's talking about all kind of crazy shit, man. All the other inmates woke up. You know, we walk over there. We like, what the hell's going on? What's good? Like, what's up? You know, he started talking all this crazy mess about how he been locked up 30 years. He tired of this. He can't do it anymore, you know. I'm trying to calm him down, you know, talk him out of it and stuff, man. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, man, but we counting right now. We doing count. You know what I'm saying? If you, he was on my unit, so I was like, if you just go on your cell or, you know, go on your cube for a second and chill out, I'll come back after we count and talk to you, this and that, man. You know, let us do this count. Man, he wasn't going for it. He wasn't trying to hear that, man. We told him to go back in the cell. I asked him a couple of times. He was like, you know, he kind of just stood there. Then it's like he just turned around and faced the wall of his cube, and you know, so I'm like, what you doing, man? You know, you going to go back in your cell, let us do this count, or what are you going to have to go to the shoe? You know, he kept just standing there, so we put hands on him, you know, and he pulled away aggressively. We ended up having to take him to the floor. I had to hit my body alarm. You know, everybody came running. We got him in cuffs. You know, they came and got him. They ended up taking him to medical. And come to find out, he was high out his mind. You know what I'm saying? I seen him. He came back, like, I think 2 or 3 weeks later on the unit. He came by and knocked on the door. And he was like, I wanted to apologize to you. I wasn't in my right mind, you know, this and that. You know, I understand, man. Prison going to be prison. You know, shit's going to happen. You know, he was cool about it. I was cool about it. You know, I've been doing this shit long enough that I know when stuff goes down, you know, shit, it's nothing you can do, man. When stuff goes down, you got to spring into action. That was like an immediate use of force, you know. He was like, you know, you always been respectful and shit like that, man. You know, I was like, you know, it is what it is, man. It's all love. It's all good at the end of the day. And he kept it moving, man. But yeah, we had to take him to the floor. You know, I had to hit my body alarm real quick, and I whipped out my car. I got a female officer with me, man. It's just us. You know, all the other inmates, they up by now. It's like lights out, but they all up looking and shit. You know, it'd be crazy, man. There was another situation with that, and I was working in the shoe, and they had brought an inmate in that was already high. He was in handcuffs, mental health inmate. So we put him in the shower and lock it, right? The showers that they take showers in the shoe, you can lock them in there, right? So they can take their shower. We put him in there. The lieutenant standing right there with me. And he's like fidgeting and reaching in his pockets and his socks, but he's high out his mind. He's slurring and shit. You know, we trying to figure out what he's doing, you know. Then he reached in his sock and pulled out like a little piece of white paper, man. I think it was K2 or crack. And he put it in his mouth real quick. The lieutenant ended up spraying him with the MK9. That's the big pepper spray. You know, the lieutenants in the compound, depending on where you work at, what agency, they carry. We got the little spray, you know, like the MK4. It's like a little canister. Then they got the big spray. It shoots out further when you pepper spray an inmate. He ended up spraying him, and it was like an immediate use of force. We ran in there. He unlocked the door. He ran in there, and he had some more of that paper in his hand. We grabbed it and put him in cuffs, took him to the other shower, man. So, like I said, man, this drug shit is getting crazy, man. It's an epidemic, man. So just stay safe. You know, don't ever try to handle an inmate on your own that appears to be intoxicated. You know, just kind of, you know, as long as he ain't being aggressive or coming at you, man, call for somebody else, man. You know, some of that drugs, they give you superhuman strength, like that crackhead strength. So you don't want to be fighting one-on-one on a unit with an inmate that's high out his mind off of drugs, and he got that superhuman strength. Now he down to pick your ass up like the Incredible Hulk and toss your ass over the top tier. Some crazy shit. Always call for somebody, man, to help you. This is the next thing, some challenges you're going to face mentally ill, mental health inmates. You know, if you work in a prison that has a mental health population, man, you're gonna see a lot of crazy shit, a lot of bizarre shit when it comes to the mental health inmates, man. I've seen some of the craziest shit amongst the inmates, man. I seen one dude, I was on the team that had to go do a cell extraction in the mental health lockup unit, and the inmate, he was in the cell. We get up there to the door. I'm like the fourth man on the team. You got to walk in a straight line. We march to the cell in a straight line. I'm the number 4 man. So I peek around. I look through his window. He's butt naked, covered from head to toe in shit. Man, he took his own feces out the toilet and wiped it all on like he had like sunscreen lotion on, man. So I'm like, man, we got to fight this dude. Usually when you going on the cell extraction, man, it's real fast. You rush in there as soon as the lieutenant popped the door. And, you know, the number 1, man, he got like a big shield. And he pins him up against the wall, and everybody else grabs him and puts him in handcuffs and leg restraints. I'm like, man, we got to fight this dude. I get shit on me, man. I'm going home. I'm throwing my uniform I got on the way. I'm going home. You put me down for the rest of the day, Lou. If I'm just sick leave and shit. But luckily, he didn't fight. The first 2 dudes grabbed. I didn't even have to touch him, man. We marched him straight to the shower in cuffs. Then we put him in the shower, took the cuffs off, and turned that water on, man. You're going to see some bizarre stuff with these mental health inmates, man. A lot of them are like schizophrenic. They're highly medicated, doped up off of drugs. A lot of them just walk around looking like zombies. But then when they don't take their meds or they refuse to take their meds, that's when they start tripping. You know, they liable to do anything. I've seen mental health inmates try to bust out the window, banging their head against the wall, crazy shit, screaming, having a whole argument with themselves, man. You like, who the fuck are they arguing with? You do a round on the unit, it's nobody in there but them. They in there cussing up a storm. Damn, 1, 2 in the morning. I'm like, this motherfucker crazy. You know what I'm saying? I had the mental health inmate try to rape the nurse on the unit, man. That shit was crazy. Man, and then like their hygiene, man, is far from the best. You know, a lot of these dudes, man, they're like literally mental health. Some of them I think be faking, trying to beat their charges, but a lot of them, they legit mental health, buku, batshit crazy, right? And it's like, they don't take showers for months. You go in they cell, it smell like a zoo in there, man. It smell like a damn elephant or hippo living in that mother. I'm like, damn, it smell like piss on top of piss. They don't flush the toilet. They don't take showers for months, man. They be smelling like must on top of must, butt, funk. Terrible, man. I'm like, they need to just take a bomb. Oh, damn, like when you bomb in a house that got roaches in it, take a bomb full of Febreze and bleach and just bomb the whole unit, man. I worked overtime on the mental health unit, man. I usually don't work down there, but as soon as I walked through the unit, it smelled like a fucking porta potty, man. It hit me like, boom, like a ton of bricks. I said, oh, God, it smelled awful down this bitch, man. I was mad I got mandated that day, man. I got through it, though, you know, but that's another thing, too, man. This is the next thing. Suicide amongst the inmates and also your co-workers. The prison I'm at now, I've been here since 2015. We've had like 5 different staff suicides, man. So at some point in your career, if you do this long enough, you know, this is a stressful job. You know, you bound to see a co-worker take their lives, and it's tragic, man. You know, it hurts everybody, especially if you was cool with them. And it's like one minute you see them, next thing you know, everybody at work the next day, like, you hear about such and such, man, they ended up committing suicide. I've had a few coworkers at my job that have lost their lives. You know, we had a few officers that died in motorcycle accidents. One, he was about a year away from retirement, man. He crashed his truck, ended up dying, man. And we had a few officers that, like, they weren't even that far into retirement, like a year or 2 after retirement, man. They ended up dying, having heart attacks, all kind of crazy shit, man. So that's another challenge too, working as a correctional officer. At some point, you're bound to experience, you know, loss of life amongst your co-workers, man. And then the inmates, you bound to find, you come across an inmate suicide, shit like that. You know, you might unfortunately see a staff member get killed by an inmate, man. That's happened before. Plenty prisons, jails. Inmate stabbed the CO to death, choked them out to death. Most of the time it's inmate on inmate. You know, I've seen homicides. We had a couple homicides at the prison I'm at, man. inmate stumped their cellie to death. One of them, he stumped his cellmate to death. It was overnight, and he put his head in the toilet and drowned him. Man, it was some crazy shit, man. You know, and the prison I'm at, they say it's like one of the best prisons to be at in the Bureau of Prison. We done had, like I said, we done had a few homicides already. So I'm like, shit. It don't matter where you at. Prison is going to be prison. It could be a minimum security camp all the way up to a supermax, USP penitentiary, man. When stuff goes down, goes down. I done seen it at all levels, man. It's just the nature of the beast. You know what I'm saying? That's the next thing too. Is constant threats of violence, man. The propensity for violence in the prison is always lurking somewhere around the corner, man. You don't know when it's going to happen. You know, a lot of times it happens real quick, man. And it's like shit goes from 0 to 100. Like I said, I've seen inmates get stabbed, blood everywhere, all in the cell. One inmate, he stumped his cellmate to death, man. It was like two mental health inmates. It was a young white kid. I think he was kind of racist. And they put an older black man in his cell. He was like in his 70s. And he ended up stumping the old black man to death. He covered his body up and went back to bed. They didn't find him till I think 5 something in the morning on the count. And, you know, they seen blood all over the floor, all kind of crazy shit, man. You know, inmates get stabbed. And see inmates get beat with a lock in the sock, man. And I thought it was so much blood from that attack, you would have thought they was in there with samurai, so it was blood all on the floor. Man, he beat them with a lock in the sock, man. I seen one inmate get cracked upside the head with a lock in the sock. He had like a knot about this damn big, like a fucking baseball. I said, God, he cracked him hard upside the skull with that lock in the sock. I seen one, he jabbed the inmate, man. He called him a child molester. He was walking by in the lockdown unit. You let one out at a time. When I worked at the county jail, you let one person out at a time to take their shower. And I guess he was walking by the cell. He was a child molester, and he was going to use the phone, and the inmate had a broom in his cell. I think, you know, they used to let them use the broom to clean their cells out. It was like a little slot in your door that you could damn near stick a broom. He stuck the broom out, bam, jabbed him right in the head, man. Man, about killed that man. I was like, wow. So that's another thing. There's always a potential for violence, whether it's inmate on inmate or inmate on staff, man. You, like you said, you got officers that have gotten attacked, stabbed, man. Inmates tried to rape a nurse or female staff members. All kind of stuff going on. So you always got to be on your P's and Q's. You always got to be, you know, on point when you're working behind that wall, man. Always expect the unexpected. You know, never get lackadaisical working as a correctional officer, man. When I go in there, I always expect the unexpected. I work in, like, I'm not going to say it. I am going to say a state of fear, man. If you ain't scared every time you go in there, man, you crazy. You know, always had that little, like, them little, your hairs on the back of your neck raised up. You know something about to go down. You can feel some shit going down. The unit gets quiet, and you see everybody looking, man. I'm like, damn, man, is it a fight? I wonder how bad of a fight it is, man. Is the inmate in there getting killed? Is he getting raped? I don't know, man, but you know, that's just the nature of the beast too, working in correction, man. This is the last thing I'm gonna leave y'all with. Challenges you're gonna face in your career. Trying to maintain your mental health, man. A peace, you know, a positive mind state working in correct. We already in a negative environment. You know, we dealing with people that don't want to be there. You know, they're there against their will. You know, so it's already stressful enough as it is. Then you may be dealing with, you know, issues on your unit on a daily basis. You, as a correctional officer working on the unit, you always going to constantly deal with something every day, man. It could be something minor as an inmate not getting along with a cellmate, all the way up to more serious shit. You got a riot that broke out on your unit, a fight, an inmate getting stabbed, inmate high on drugs, inmate had a medical emergency, he had a heart attack. I had to save an inmate's life before, do CPR and shit, man, ended up saving his life. An inmate trying to commit suicide, man. Staff member having a medical emergency at work, man. We had staff members fall out, have heart attacks, man, heat stroke, shit like that, man. It's always something. So when you see that shit on a constant daily basis, it's like it can mess with your mind state. Then it's like the more minor shit too that you got to deal with at work, man. You got to deal with the workplace politics, the workplace drama. You know, there's a lot of drama sometimes between your coworkers, man. Beef, animosity, rumors, gossip that adds to it. And then always having to be in that constant state of alertness when you work in the unit, you working around inmates because you don't know what's going to happen. That contributes to it, man. So I highly encourage you, if you about to start into corrections, man, the best thing I could tell you, man, is when it's time to leave, go home, leave that shit at work, man, and focus on living your best life out here, man. You know, that's the best thing to do, man. Try to do the things you like to do. Be positive, you know, family time, travel, vacation, eat. You know, don't succumb to shit like drinking every day. I see a lot of my coworkers, it's like they develop like a drinking problem, man. They start drinking. They drink every fucking day. Man, I was talking to someone, they like, man, they drinking every day. I remember when I worked at my last federal prison in West Virginia, right? I used to ride the van pool in to work, and I worked night shift. So we would be going back home. I was at McDowell, West Virginia. So it's like an hour away from Beckley, West Virginia. So we had the van pool. We would stop halfway at the gas station going into work and leaving work. And I had, man, one coworker, man, every morning, he would get a 6-pack of beer every day, man. I'm like, God, he would crush it. By the time we get back to our cars at the Walmart, them damn beers be gone. I'm like, God damn, I don't know how the fuck you do it, man. But I done seen coworkers like that develop a drinking problem, man. It started to impact them. They started missing work. You know, I'm like, man, they start coming to work, drinking and shit like that. You don't want to get into that habit, man. You know, I know it's stressful. You got to find more positive outlets to relieve that stress. For me, I go to the gym every day. I work out. You know, I like to go out to eat, watch my shows, travel and shit like that. When I'm not at work, I'm not thinking about where like I said, I leave work at work. When it's time to go home, you know, only time I'm thinking about work outside of work is when I'm making these YouTube videos for y'all. Outside of that, I'm cool. You know, it's already stressful enough. I don't want to talk about work outside of work. That's why I don't really go to functions no more amongst my coworkers, because it's like you go in there and it's like people being there, they just want to talk about some shit that's going on at work. I'm like, bro, talk about some other shit, man. It'll be there when you get back. Work is going to be there when you get back. Don't let that correctional officer shit live in your head rent free. Get that shit out your mindset, man. You can't be a correctional officer 24/7. You're going to crash out. You're going to burn. Your family going to start to hate you, man. You're going to start to have tendencies you display inside of work, man. You're going to start to think everybody's up to no good in the free world, motherfucking just start doing crazy, bizarre shit, man. You got to learn how to cut that shit off, man. Y'all like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. I got the merchandise for sale. This is one of my shirts right here. This is a gym shirt. Heavy weightlifting in progress, safety first, man. I got a lot of gym fitness, motivational shirts and hoodies on my website. Shop with me, man. But y'all got any comments, questions, any ideas or topics for future videos, make sure y'all drop a comment. I'll be sure to get back with you as soon as I can, man. Y'all know how we coming. Let's get motivated.